where we love God, love others, and we love making disciples. While we wait for Darius to get situated, oh, hi, Darius. This is my good friend Darius. Kind of looks like.
He likes to call me a friend. He doesn't make those.
I make money.
Yeah, no kidding.
But
it's
yeah,
all about the bass, about the bass, about the bass.
no trouble.
Cool.
Welcome,
Okay.
Pastor John.
Hello.
Welcome to UFC, United Followers of Christ, where we love God, love others, and we love making disciples.
Yeah.
We got a good crowd tonight.
Somewhat good.
Big crowd, all the seats are filled.
We got more testimonies tonight.
Hey, camp is the 14th through the 18th. It's $50. Deadline is May 22nd to pay that stuff. So don't come to us on May 23rd trying to give us money. I mean, we'll take it, but you're not going to get it.
I'll take the money. If you have already paid, Brooklyn, Boston, you need to go to the Camp Table Rock website, Brooklyn, Boston, and register. You need to go to Camp Table Rock, click on register. Register for week 14th through the 18th, week 2.
You're already paid.
You're already paid, but you have to register. Where is Brooklyn?
So you got Boston, Brooklyn,
Where is
Sophie,
Brooklyn?
and Izzy.
Where's-
All have paid but have not
You can't hide.
registered. Okay? All right.
That is
Now
weird.
I've got down Rayanna, Riley, Darius, Eli, Mila, and Allie that are for sure going. That's it. Who else? I don't have you.
Try harder.
Okay.
Aaron's going.
Be gooder. Be gooder.
Aaron. Aaron.
Be gooder. Aaron starting.
You're not registered.
I will tell you this, and I'm serious when I say this, camp is the start of a lot of things for a lot of people.
A lot of good.
It's where people have felt a call to the ministry. It is where lives have been changed and turned around. It is a good place to be. Oh, hey. And then,
We got Mason.
once again, almost fell, but I caught myself. Once again, I want to ask this before I play it. If we meet during the summer, who's going to show up? Okay.
Yo, let's do this.
Colors.
Colors. Colors. Colors. Colors. Colors. Colors. Woo! I was totally all wrapped out now. Okay, what is this about? You need to sign up for this so you know what color to wear the night and the night we're going to meet. Because on that night, if you decide to come, if you're like, I want to be there, yeah, I'm talking to you.
If you're not wearing the right color,
You have to, if I say it, that night is red, you must wear red. Not R-E-A-D, but R-E-D. No cheese gear allowed.
all right. Now you might be asking yourself,
That's
how do I
red and
sign
gold.
up for this?
Yes.
Just text @JVolt to 81010.
Be quiet.
Be quiet.
And just Darius signed up for the first time just like 2 weeks ago.
I haven't signed up yet.
So
I've been telling you guys to do it for the past 2
sign
years.
up for this.
I'm in the youth group chat, so
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
we're core members.
Thank you, Luffy.
One Piece.
Hey.
Let's stand and worship.
Summer
Run,
Pro.
Alexis, run!
We worship the God who was. We worship the God who is. praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is surely in this place, and we won't be quiet. We'll shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. There's joy in the house of the Lord today, and we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. There's joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is surely in this place, and we won't be quiet. We shout out your praise. Oh, we shout out your praise. Oh, we shout out your praise. Oh, we shout out your praise. Who am I that the highest King would welcome me? I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Free at last, he has ransomed me, his grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. Sing it out. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. Oh, I am who you say I am. Yes, I am who you say I am. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am.
Like the Red Sea and parted.
No.
Part.
As long as you can't just sit down. No, you got it.
All right. Okay. Once again, we're doing something special tonight because we have people that want to share in their heart what God has done for them, things that have happened in their life. And I should not have to say what I am going to say, but I'm going to say it anyhow. If it gets said in this room, it better stay in this room. You should all have enough respect for each other that what gets said up here stays up here. We are about love, honor, and respecting our neighbors, just like we do God. I expect that to happen. I'm not saying that that has happened. I'm saying I just know that there are some things tonight that are going to be said that are very sensitive. Very sensitive. So, by the way, I'm glad you're okay. I've been through one, only my house didn't come out so good when we were in it. For those of you who don't know, we got hit by a tornado 21 years ago, Chris? May 4th. And the last thing I said to my wife before the tornado hit our house, I looked at her with all the incredible love I have in my heart, and I said, "You wanted a new house? You're about to get one." Boom! Tornado. Guess what? We got a new house. Yay! I kept my promise. Okay, so let's get started. Tonight, the first person up is Brooklyn. Brooklyn's 4'1", blonde, wearing a blue shirt. 4 feet even.
By the way, these are directional, so if you don't hold this here, we can't hear you. If you hold it here, it's like blah, 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 blah. So put it up here. Don't make me like go, hey.
Okay. That's close enough. I can't do it. Okay. 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 Think of a sponge. When you squeeze it, what comes out of it? Soap, water, or whatever you soak it in. If I soak a sponge in ketchup, I'm going to squeeze ketchup out of it. If I soak a sponge in apple juice, orange juice isn't just going to magically come out of it. Now think of that as us. We are constantly absorbing information, and that changes how we act. For instance, if we listen to sad songs all day, that'll make us want to be sad because we're setting our minds on sad things. If you're watching inappropriate videos, you're going to most likely think inappropriately. I could go on all day with examples, but to get to my point, as Christ followers, if you focus on soaking yourself in the words of God and heavenly things, whether you're overflowing or being squeezed because life is hard, what's going to come out of you is what you're putting yourself in. If you're soaking up things of God, it's going to be things that honor God. If we're soaking up things of the world, it's going to be things that line up with the world and go against God. This is not to say you're going to be perfect, because we're all a mess sometimes. But your consistency with God will either be with God or without God, depending on what you spend your time on. That's why, as believers, it's not just important to get in the Word of God, but also to cut off things that don't honor Him. If we spend our time actually sitting with God and making sure that we do things that honor Him, those things will fill ourselves with the things that will come. We can't always help what comes in, but we can decide how long it stays, and whether we are going to renew our minds with the Word of God, or we can choose to confirm the world. Okay, not words, too big. Remember, you're a sponge. Be careful of what you soak yourself in. Don't let the way others believe reflect on the way you believe. I'm shaking.
Good job. Now, who's next? Madison, did you skip or are you here? Somebody skipped on me today. Who was it? Right? Okay, we're good. Malia. And you're right, she is, huh? I know. I don't see her. Where? That's what I said. We got to you quick. I like how this echoes. Malaya. Wait, you ready? My. Yay! Hold it right here. We won't be able to hear you.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Anytime, start. What?
I don't like you looking at myself. Okay. When I was a baby, my parents got divorced, and that was really hard on my mom. For a while, we lived with my grandma, so I grew up going to church with my grandparents here. When I moved to Fort Scott with my mom, we stopped going to church for a little bit, but we found a church in Fort Scott that we really liked, and we started going again. For a few years, we consistently went to church. After a few years, that church, they made some decisions that my mom did not agree with, and so we left the church, and we just didn't really go to church that much. But even when we were consistently going to church, we didn't really talk about it outside of, we didn't talk about God or Jesus or anything like that. So going to church for me, I kind of dreaded it. I thought it was, not important. I was also 7 at the time. Meanwhile, with my dad, we went to church very inconsistently, and we didn't really talk about church with him. We didn't really talk about that. So I didn't go to church for a while. It's probably 5 or 6 years, probably. And then I think it was in August at the back to school bash. My mom made me come and help my grandma out with stations and stuff for the kids. And I met some pretty cool people. And I found out that my papa was driving the bus to go to Encounter. My phone's not full anymore, sorry. And so I decided to go to Encounter last minute, and that was probably the best decisions I could have made, because I met so many people that brought me closer to God, and just being there brought me closer to God. And after that, for a few weeks, I started helping out with kids and gradually meeting people. And after being with the kids for a while, I decided to come to teens. And that has helped me out so much, and I've been so much happier recently, and I've grown so close to God, and I just wanted to thank you guys for that, because you guys were so welcoming.
Now, all kidding aside, that's what you guys do as a youth group. That's not what I do. That's not what our small group leaders do. That's what you do. You give people a sense of belonging to something that's different, because you reflect Christ. You try very hard. Sometimes we fail, but it's you. I turned it off. Who could be next? What? Yay! We're all going to go eat waffles when she's done. Woo! For those of you at home who don't know, Waffles is her cow. Calf. It's a cute calf. I just want to turn him into steak. Are you relaxed now?
Yeah.
Yes. Remember, up here.
Yep, I know. So growing up, I was always abused in multiple different ways from my bio parents and my 2 oldest stepbrothers. It got to the point where I was begging not to be home. Most of the abuse was due to them constantly being drunk or really faded. Sometimes they would force me to smoke or they would burn me with it. This went on until I was about 8. When I had just turned 8, my parents took us to Wichita to live with my uncle. But shortly after we arrived, the cops showed up and we got to leave. The only bad part was that we got put in foster care, and me and my 2 siblings, you guys probably know who they are, but we got separated. When we got separated, I went to a place where I continued to get physically abused, and most nights I didn't even get fed. I fell into a dark hole thinking I'd never be happy again, but a few weeks later, me and my sisters got reunited and we got to live with my grandparents. When this happened, I finally became happy again. Although I was still hurting, I was slowly healing. We were with them for about 2 years, then they adopted us. When this happened, I was so happy because they changed our last names. The reason this brought me so much joy is because I didn't have a thing to remember the pain they brought me. Moving on, if I say mom or dad, I'm meaning my grandparents. Okay, so to be honest, I never believed in God, and I blamed myself for all the abuse. But the thing was, my mom always told me, don't blame yourself, leave it in God's hands. This meant so much, and I will always remember it. Especially in 2001, when all of our lives changed, and we figured out my mom had cancer. And it was really bad. My mom struggled off and on with this for about 3 years, where most of the time we spent holidays and even birthdays in the hospital. But at this point, it didn't bother me because I enjoyed spending time with her. She eventually got put on hospice, and then everything hit me at once. I felt like one day everything just became real. This feeling made me be mad at the world and turn into a whole different person. I just remember the night I got woken up at 4 a.m. so I could say my last goodbyes. I remember before this that she constantly reminded me that God's got me and to leave it to Him. I struggled with remembering this and following through on it. So as weeks went on, my aunt finally forced me to come to church. When I first walked through these doors, I remember feeling scared, wanting to go home. But then my aunt found that there was a youth group. I remember just thinking that, oh, I'm not going to fit in and I'm not going to like it. But I tell you what, you all showed me that I belong and that I was meant to be here, especially with all of you listening to me when I needed to talk. I've seen myself change since I've gone here. I became a person who believed in God and has always become someone who enjoys praying and reading the Bible. What I'm saying is, even when I was in the worst part of my life, when I wanted to give up because I thought I had nothing, there was still part of me that knew something was holding me back from giving up, and I never knew it was God because I didn't believe in Him. But when I was with my grandma, she showed me who God was, and even though it took me a while to realize that God helped me through all my struggles and my depression, looking back all of it now, I'm so thankful that I had my mom to help me get to know Him. Because without God, I don't know the person I would have become.
I will not eat waffles. No, sorry. Those aren't right. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we have time. Okay. Yes. Now, because we have time, I had 3 people that actually gave sermons. Darius. Mike. And what they wanted to do was also give their testimony. So I told them they could come back up, and we have 5 people left. I got 3 people who are going to give testimony, and then 2 more. And I think we shouldn't have a problem getting this in tonight. We're going to get it in tonight, so we ain't leaving here till everybody's done. All right, so here he is. How long are you going to talk?
I'll talk a couple minutes.
He got a chair.
All right. I only got the chair not because I'm going to talk a long time. I don't want to stand up. Honestly, I didn't prepare for this at all, but I've been praying, and I'm just wanting God to speak through me, and I'm hoping I can connect with you guys in any way, and I'm just going to share my testimony. So, growing up was pretty hard. My dad wasn't always around, and my mom wasn't really home much because she always had to work, so I loved growing up with my sisters, but sometimes it was hard, and around 7th grade, I got depression about 9, and then I ended up having to get medicated, which I didn't really like, so I never took the meds. But I realized later on that's kind of why you need them, is because you feel bad. And then in 7th grade, I lost my virginity, and that's whenever I started to really be addicted to sex. And that just really destroyed me. And I missed something. And about 6th grade, I smoked for the first time. And ever since then, I was addicted to marijuana and vaping. And that was until the 9th grade. And I'd say one thing that really hurt a lot was the amount of people that died in my life. And I don't really know the right time to talk about it, so I never do talk about my feelings. A year ago, well, March 28th, a year ago, my sister passed away. And I'd say it was hard, but one thing I've learned is God can use anything in your life to not only turn you around, and you could be an example for other people on how to react to things. And I would say that I've learned that we should all love each other more and be more compassionate for one another. And another thing that I could gladly share is I'm thankful for all of you, and you are all a part of my testimony. And I didn't want to yap too much, but yeah, those are some of the stuff that happened.
Hello? Okay, there we go. Okay, so whenever I first told John I wanted to say my testimony, I wrote down this whole script of how I was going to talk about it. And then I realized this is not just some story that I'm telling y'all, it's my life. So I pushed that to the side and honestly completely forgot about it until today when my name was on the screen. So I apologize if I stutter or anything like that. But growing up, I had what I thought was a really good life. I had so many blessings. I didn't know that my parents were actually struggling because they were both in college and struggled to get money. But I never do that because my parents hid that very well, which made me have an amazing childhood. And whenever I was 6 or 7, I started to realize my grandpa was really sick, and he was in and out of the hospital all the time. And so we were constantly traveling everywhere to go see him and visit him in the hospital because we never knew when our last goodbye would be. And when I was 7, I stayed up really late one night just praying that his pain would go away, and the next morning I was woken up to be told that he passed away. And so from that moment, I blamed myself heavily, and to this day I still do. And after that, that was like the turning point in my life where I realized that life gets hard and that life isn't always perfect. And so as I got older, I continued to blame myself and carried that guilt for my grandpa passing, even though it really wasn't my fault. And like school was really difficult, and I started getting bullied and made fun of, and people just weren't nice. And so the only way I could think to help myself from the blame and guilt that I put on myself was to cut myself and burn myself. And starting from middle school, maybe late elementary school, I started hurting myself and continued to do that. And it just like the problem continued getting worse as I got older. And even when I started coming to church, I was in a relationship, and the guy invited me to this church. And this was actually the church I went to before my grandpa passed away. And coming to this church completely changed everything. I immediately felt like it was a family, but at first I felt like I didn't belong until I started having conversations with everybody and realized how amazing every single one of y'all are. And even the people I met later along the way have completely changed me for the better. And I've stopped hurting myself and stopped doing those things. I'm actually almost 1 year clean from all of that. And Thank you, guys. Whenever I first was, like, kind of came out about what I had been doing, I was, I got in trouble for it and was taken away. I didn't talk to any of my friends and stopped going to church and completely, like, did not have anything to do with anybody. And I was in a really rocky relationship with somebody, and I was very vulnerable, so I got used. And that also played a role on me just because I felt like I had nobody. So coming to this church really changed me. Every single one of y'all have made me, like, view the world differently, view Christianity differently, and really gave me a sense of purpose and love. So thank you all very much.
You go to the bathroom. I don't know, can you go to the bathroom? I mean, no, I would never yell at you. Sit down! I would never yell at you.
You guys know who Joe Jackson is? Shoeless Joe Jackson?
I do.
Yeah. No one else. Might as well be. Can you guys hear me without the mic? John, you cool if I don't use the mic? Touche. I knew I was gonna come up here and I was gonna say something. I was gonna share my testimony with y'all. But I didn't prepare for it or anything. Didn't write anything down because it's my life. It's my story. It's what I've been through. There's gonna be a lot of ums and buts in here. I'm ready for it. I don't know where to start. All right. About 3 years ago, I got out of a relationship, and this would have been about my 8th grade year, going into the summer, fall in my 8th grade year. And getting out of that, it just took a toll on me, and it broke me as like a person, not knowing, but thinking that I wasn't good enough, and that I messed up and that it was my fault, and taking all the blame on that. When in reality, it was a mutual confrontation, I'll say, and we decided that it was time. And so with that knowledge, knowing it was time, I still took the blame. And so I fell into this hole. I'd say things and I'd do things that I wasn't proud of, and I had what I found out later was called midlife crises. I learned that from my therapist. And so there are instances where I would have said midlife crisis, something that happens that sets me off into suicidal thoughts and just a huge wave of depression just over me and just not wanting to be alive anymore. And so instances where I attempted and didn't follow through, and there were about 3 instances that didn't work, obviously, and somebody or a group of somebodies, they reported me to the school counselor, and so I went in and I talked to her, and so I was sent to Marillac. It's a hospital up in Kansas City, and I was there for about a week. They have it set up so you can go and you can talk to other people in your same shoes, but it was COVID, so I was just stuck to my room with nobody and nothing. Everything child-proof, so you couldn't hurt yourself. And so that kind of just had me sitting in my bed just wondering, like, these people let me down. They put me here. It's their fault. And so I kind of befriended everybody, or unfriended, for a minute. It was a while. I would just not talk to people. I'd shut down whenever something of minor inconvenience happened. And so there were those instances, and I blamed the people that sent me there and the people that reported me while trying to help me. And so there was an instance at a football game. I tried to OD. I found some pills in Dad's room. And someone told someone else, and then someone else that came and found me. And then Mr. Swartz walked with me to my dad, and then Dad took me home, and we talked, and I actually talked to John about it that same night. There's instances where Mom and we would start yelling at each other, and it was brutal. You can ask my siblings. I said some things that I'm not proud of, and I'm sorry that you guys had to be a part of that. And I mean that as your older brother. I shouldn't have done that. I should have been more calm and relaxed about it. But in a heated situation, the only thing you can do is get heated too to equal out. Okay. And so I'd yell at Mom. This happened like 3 times. And then I'd leave. And one night I stayed at John's house because it was too bad. And so it's just feeling unworthy can make you do and think and say and feel all these other emotions than just unworthiness. And so, yeah. The last instance, I'm sitting in my room. It's probably 11:45, and I am just sitting on my bed. I'm just crying and I'm bawling, and just something called me, and I opened up my Bible. I have a little NLT Bible, and I opened up to Thessalonians 5:17. It says, "Always be joyful, never stop praying. Thank God in all circumstances, for He is good." And that verse, in the midst of all that darkness, it stood out to me. Just some random verse that I opened up to and found. That one in particular stood out to me. 17 says, "Never stop praying." We can pray and we can receive. This is what I talked about last week. And so, in all that, the misery, finding something good, finding some hope, that pulled me out of that depression and the thoughts and everything. And so, that was God kind of talking to me in my eyes about what I should be doing as a Christian, as a brother, as a son, and what I should not be doing, and pulling me into a relationship, a stronger relationship with Christ. And so, 2 years ago, you wouldn't see me up here doing this. You'd see me sitting there and just not participating. And so, I think God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. And so that's my story. That's what I have. Just different feelings make you feel bad ways and make you do and think bad things. And so that's me, y'all.